All right, let's talk some more mock draft projections for the Chiefs. Mecole Hardman getting overlooked again, Pat McAfee's Wrestlemania performance, Frank Gore retiring, and much more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about my favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the NFL overall. So make sure, if you're new, to sub, hit that like button, and let's get into this news. Let's start off light. We have a few shots recently of Mahomes getting more work in, and he simply tweets out loading with a clock emoji. Then we have this very clean catch by Corey Coleman. I snagged that from a story on Instagram before it expired. That is a very nice grab, not gonna lie. That makes me excited for sure about Corey Coleman's potential. Can he bounce back is the question. Make sure to hit that like button if you think he's going to bounce back and if you're excited for this next season. And then the Chiefs recently put out a video on Twitter and YouTube going over some first round projections from different people around the NFL league, networks, etc. And Mike Tannenbaum has us selecting Jameson Williams in the first round with the 29th pick. He's an elite talent with 15 TDs and over 1,500 yards last season. He's very quick, great at yak, yards after catch, and 6'2", so taller, able to get up there and compete for those footballs. He does have a torn ACL. We all pretty much know that, but his recovery is looking very good thus far. The only issue for me here with this selection is, will he actually still be available at 29? Ryan Tracy from RGR and others think that even with this injury, he's still a top 10 pick. What do you guys think? Will he still be available at 29, or is he gone within the first 10? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Next up, Tannenbaum has us selecting edge rusher Arnold Ebiketie at pick number 30. He transferred to Penn State from Temple University last year and had a total of 52 pressures last season. From there, Bucky Brooks from NFL.com has the Chiefs selecting wideout Sky Moore from Western Michigan at pick 29. He did have an impressive season with 94 catches for 1,291 yards and 10 TDs, I believe. Apparently, PFF believes he's one of the most agile receivers in this year's draft class. Brooks then has the Chiefs selecting Michigan safety Dax Hill, and this should come as no surprise here. He was a slot corner but projects as a deep safety at the next level. And up next, Cynthia Freeland also has us selecting Dax Hill, but at pick 29, followed by Florida corner Kaiir Elam at 30. At 6'2", Elam is good in coverage, challenging some of the opposing team's best receivers, and only allowed 19 catches in 10 games. Do you guys like any of these selections? Let me know in the comments down below. We badly need pass rusher help, so please, Chiefs, start beefing up the D-line in this draft. I would also love a solid corner, and for sure, another wideout or two. And then I've been seeing a lot of comments lately that say something along the lines of this:
Tyreek is gone. Move on. Quit talking about Tyreek. I'm done hearing about Tyreek.
And while those comments sound simple in theory, because after all, Hill is gone, it's a very complex subject, because when you take someone that's been a core of how the offense runs a lot of its plays, a player that is often used as a double covered distraction, a player who caused defenses to completely change how they played against us because of him, there's just a lot to talk about regarding Hill, even with him gone. Yes, he's not coming back, and therefore we are moving on, but we can't really talk about how we will move on without still attaching Tyreek Hill to the conversation. Sometimes the best way to look forward is by looking back at what was, acknowledging those facts, and using them as a catalyst for change in the future. So I do understand that some of you, me included, are getting tired of the analysts talking about the Chiefs and Tyreek and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are stupid for the trade. They won't be as good, blah, blah, blah. So I do get that side of it for sure, but just know that a big part of how this offense operated is going to change next season in more ways than one, and it's because of Tyreek Hill's absence. I do think the approach will be more balanced. Mahomes will be forced to rely upon multiple guys instead of just Hill and Kelsey. But speaking of Mahomes and his receiving targets, let's talk about Mecole Hardman because people often overlook him, and I think he even agrees with that. PFF recently tweeted out a photo with the caption, "Do the Chiefs still have a top 3 offense?" And the photo had Travis Kelce, MVS, Smith-Schuster, Ronald Jones, and CEH on it. And well, Mo Wells didn't like that Hardman was left off the list and said, "Y'all really gotta stop disrespecting Mecole Hardman," and Mecole actually retweeted it himself. So my question to you all is this: is Mecole Hardman underrated and overlooked by the media? Where do you see him on the wide receiver depth chart next season? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, especially with Hill gone and with MVS and Juju here and possibly us picking up somebody in the draft. But before we move on from Hardman, let's look at some of the changes the Chiefs made to better incorporate him and his strengths into the offense and his effectiveness from those changes. This is from an article by Marlo Ferguson Jr. with Sports Illustrated. He says this: from week 15 of the regular season through the AFC Championship game, Hardman did accumulate 51.3 scrimmage yards per game, which averages to about 873 yards over a 17-game season. Hardman also improved on his drops, lowering that number from 8 in 2020 to just 2 in 2021. The statistics talk isn't as important as how Hardman continues to consistently make himself a cog in the Chiefs' offensive machine. Save for a fumble in the wild card game, he provided value when his number was called. 13.8 yards average per touch over that 6-game benchmark. Those customary jet sweeps and carries over the edge yielded better results. He certainly appears more nuanced on the receiving side of things, and also, to Hardman's credit, there were a handful of missed opportunities in which Patrick Mahomes just missed Hardman on deep field position shifting type plays, including an ugly one in the AFC title game. So yeah, will this be a breakout year for Hardman? What do you guys think? Here's what I think. It's the final year on his contract this season, and the contract year is undefeated. So I think the answer is quite possibly yes. He's going to want another contract, preferably a bigger one, with some team in the NFL next year. So this is definitely a make or break season for Hardman, no doubt. And then Bleacher Report recently dropped an article about Tyrann Mathieu, echoing what I, among others, have been saying about the Honey Badger. The reason why the Chiefs are more than likely moving on from him, which was pretty much confirmed with the Justin Reid signing, and possibly a reason why he's still available on the free agency market, is because the Chiefs believe that his best years are now behind him. He's played 9 years in the NFL, and that is a lot of mileage. If you compare the safeties to the metaphor of a mountain, the Chiefs believe Justin Reid is nearing his peak years of performance, and that Tyrann Mathieu has begun to descend down the mountaintop, if you will, though he may still be very near the peak of said descent. Matt Connor from Arrowhead Addict said this yesterday: "For all of the rumors that were flying around early in the legal tampering period on Monday, it's a bit shocking that the Chiefs' first move was not at wide receiver or defensive end. Those signings were sure to come, but based on the league-wide buzz at the time, the signing of Reid was a bit of a zig where the Chiefs were expected to zag. But perhaps the Chiefs' sense of urgency to do something at safety was a signal of what was to come. It meant the Tyrann Mathieu era was over, and that the team was ready to usher in the next era of the defense. Combined with the trade of Tyreek Hill that happened a bit later, the whole roster was soon pushed over into 2.0 mode with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. Mathieu himself was just like Reid when he came to the Chiefs. He was in his mid-20s and signed after time spent with the Texans in free agency. He also had most of his accolades ahead of him as a versatile safety with a high ceiling. The Chiefs can only hope they're growing into a similarly loaded roster with new signings and draft selections in the months and years to come." And then in some loose NFL news, former NFL star Pat McAfee performed at Wrestlemania over the weekend, and he competed against a couple people and also got himself stunnered by Stone Cold himself, which is freaking awesome to me. I don't honestly follow the WWE anymore, but as a kid, like growing up back in the prime days for me, based on my age, it was The Rock and Stone Cold in their primes, and I used to watch all the time. So that was pretty awesome to see just someone like Pat McAfee doing that, doing his thing. He's really has an awesome show on YouTube if you haven't seen it, make sure to check it out, which I'm sure you have because his channel is like 15 million times bigger than mine. But anyway, Ian Rappaport said that Pat McAfee is incredible. What a performance at Wrestlemania. Punters are wrestlers too. Hopefully he recovers at some point from the beatings that McMahon and Stone Cold gave him. Yeah, that was a little rough to see him get beaten up by a 76-year-old Vince McMahon. Not gonna lie. And since we're on the subject of entertainment, a recent video surfaced of a Jackson State linebacker's new QB rush technique called the Will Smith.
We got a new technique. We gotta give him the Will Smith. What's the Will Smith? Smack, right? He hit him with the palm of his hand, not the finger. So we're gonna give him that ball here. They're gonna Will Smith his ass right now. Give me a shade of chest with a Will Smith. Say, Will Smith him. Don't talk about my football team, Tigers. There you go, Will Smith him. The heel of your palm. That's how Will Smith do it. He hits you with that whole hand.
Honestly, I can't get over this clip. I think I've watched it about 10 times. My favorite part is when he said use the palm, not just the fingertips. Like Will Smith. Anyway, in other more serious NFL news, Frank Gore recently announced that he is planning on signing a one-day deal with the San Francisco 49ers, the team that drafted him, and retiring from the NFL. It's only a matter of time. Quote, "We're still trying to figure out when I'm going through my one-day contract to sign, do my retirement," Gore said. "I told owner Jed York I always want to be a Niner. So we are working on that right now." Gore has not played in the NFL since the 2020 season when he tallied 742 total yards and 2 TDs on 203 touches for the New York Jets, his 5th NFL team. Gore, a third-round pick in the 2005 NFL Draft, spent the first 10 years of his career in San Francisco, rushing for at least 1,000 yards in 8 of those campaigns and being named to 5 Pro Bowls. Since then, the now 38-year-old back has played for Indianapolis, Miami, Buffalo, and New York. So hey, congrats, Frank Gore, on your awesome NFL career. Love that you're going back to the main team that you played for and retiring as a Niner. And speaking of old vets, 11-year-old veteran Andy Dalton recently arrived in New Orleans with the realization that he's there to support incumbent starter Jameis Winston in any way that he can. Having signed a one-year deal with the Saints on Tuesday to back up Winston, Dalton is bound for his 4th team in as many seasons and reserved to being QB2 and everything that goes with it. Quote, "This is his thing, and I'm here to help him out in any way that I can," Dalton said Thursday in his introductory news conference with the Saints. "So I'm excited to work with him, excited to be in the same room and see everything that I can do to help him out to make him be the best player he can be." In the 2021 offseason, Winston emerged from a QB battle with Taysom Hill as a successor to the retired Drew Brees. By season's end, however, Winston was one of 4 quarterbacks who had started for an injury-riddled Saints squad. As fate would have it, Winston is back, and so too are second-year QB Ian Book, and Hill, the team's resident Swiss Army knife, is slotted to get some work at tight end. But the only roster change to the team's quarterback room is the departure of Trevor Siemian and the entrance of Dalton. Fatefully enough, Siemian landed in Chicago as the Bears' new backup, and now Dalton has taken his spot in NOLA. What do you guys think about all of this? Anything stand out in today's news that you want to talk about? Comment down below. I'm pretty active in there. What are you looking forward to over the next month or two? The draft? Training camp? Let me know in the comments down below and let's talk about it. There's certainly a lot going on, but be sure of this. I will keep you updated every step of the way. Make sure to sub for more daily news like this and check out this video here from the previous day's news in case you missed it. So until next time, let's go. How about those